Alright fellas, here we are back in Pokemon Masters, and now, finally, for the final video for these Kanto Trio characters, Champion Blue. Champion Blue, I mean, if you've played this game for any amount of time, you've probably seen and or heard about the monsters that this guy hides under your bed. This guy's nuts. Still nuts. Easily the second best support character in the game. The best technical support role character in the game, right? Arcsuit Steven is technically multi, so, Blue is nuts. Blue is stupid, Blue is nuts, Blue is stupid. Okay, so, what does Blue do that makes him so, dumb? Well, he does his job of enabling team defensive utility really fucking well. Really well. This guy at 6-star level 150, he's got 358 in his defenses, 811 HP, 414 speed, 204 special attack. Special attack's not too important yet, but it does actually have some, applicability, I guess. His defenses are good, obviously, right? With the Striker EX roll he gives himself plus 40 special attack for 244 special attack. Not that great, but that's also not the primary usage of his Striker EX roll to begin with. Looking at his passive skills here, he's got himself Kanto Flag Bearer, which powers up moves and reduces move damage. This is for physical and special. It's up to a 30% power buff and 26% damage reduction. Obviously, it's going to be great for any character you run him with, getting free power-ups and free damage reduction from any moves, right? I mean, that's just goes without saying. He's got Pride of Palate. Raises defense and special defense of all allies by 1 when the user's attack move is successful. Applies free moves next to the user when its attack move is successful. Has a 30% chance to make the target flinch when its attack move is successful. This is a very loaded passive that does a lot. For one, he's got infinite defensive buffs. Sure, it would be good to have like +6 or something in 2 turns, or +4 in 2 turns, or something like that, right? That would be great. But the biggest upside to this is that this is infinite. If you get debuffed, you can buff your defenses right back because of Blue. That is very effective and very strong. So that alone is already an extremely great part of him. Applies free moves next to the user when its attack was successful. Free Gauge has helped this guy for so much in terms of Legendary Arena solos. Any stupid dodge characters, hello Latias, hello Cresselia, those free moves next are crucial for a lot of those fights, or damn near it anyway. And of course for any team that has like bad gauge, the free moves next is good for that as well. Blue not using any gauge, or any support not using any gauge, is so good because it allows him to utilize his best form of damage, Discharge, and his best form of utility, I guess, rather, without having to worry about, you know, the gauge repercussions of that. And of course that's great for being able to land sync moves in like the stadium where you only have 4 gauge and stuff like that, right? I mean, free moves next is great. 30% chance to flinch enemies, that's killer in so much content. That's great for the Legendary Arenas, that's great for the damage challenge, that's obviously good for the high score event. It does suck sometimes with resilient stages where all enemies gain resilience and you can't really target who you want to flinch. That's one of the biggest upsides Arcsuit Steven has over Champion Blue, is that he can select who he wants to flinch with Iron Head, and has a higher chance of doing it, of course, right? But this is still an extremely good ability, you know, being able to, you know, turn deny an enemy even if it is, you know, all enemies. And of course, the upside to that, again, is that if the enemy doesn't have resilience, well, you're just flinching all enemies for free, and you don't have to worry about them gaining back resilience. So basically, no enemy can take an action other than trainer moves, which is great. So 30% flinch chance, that's very, very useful. That basically is what enabled him to solo Moltres at all. That's funny. Okay. Roaring White Lightning. Lowers target electric rebuff by 1 the first time users attack move is successful each battle. Lowers target electric rebuff by 1 rank the first time users sync move targeting that opponent is successful each battle. This effect can only activate once per battle. So, okay. Loaded sentence, of course, but he's able to lower enemy electric rebuff AoE with Discharge, right? This is how the Kanto characters work, and he's able to lower enemy electric rebuff on his sync move, which is good to go for because he's a support character. You want that support EX, right? But it's now made AoE because of the Striker EX roll. This is why he has it, that is the biggest effect of it, and that is why he's one of the most valuable supports to actually give the Striker EX rolls to, on top of other characters like Penny, who can do the same effect. And of course this increases his damage too, but still, he's given all enemies -2 electric rebuff if he's got the Striker EX roll invested, and if he doesn't even have it invested, that's okay, because he's still able to give at least one enemy -2 electric rebuff, most likely the middle, and that's obviously going to be good for enhancing electric type damage. So that's great. And then Team Sync Move Power Up 2. This is just giving allies free 20% power on their sync moves. any character you run with this guy, no matter who it is now able to get themselves just a free 20% multiplier on their damage for their sync move just from this guy. Which is why, among other reasons, there's a ton of reasons why this guy's great in the damage challenge, but like, bruh, this guy, I mean, you can pretty much say he's probably the best character in the game for the damage challenge, or at least really close to it. Like, he's one of the best. He's like top 5 best, like, supportive character, or like paralysis inflictor, whatever type of character for the damage challenge. And the fact he's able to power up sync moves is great for not only like that mode, but any game mode. Pair him up with Champion Red, right? Champion Red, on top of all of his other bullshit multipliers, is now getting an extra 20% because of Champion Blue's just existence on the team. This is unconditional. You don't have to worry about having anything activated. This is just there for free. Yeah. Really good. And that's just his passive abilities. We haven't gone into anything else yet. We already see how good his defensive buffing ability is because it's literally infinite. His gauge is already great. He's able to have enemies flinch. He's lowering enemy electric rebuff, and he's giving allies direct power up on their sync moves. What else does he have? Well, Discharge, which has a 30% paralysis chance. Great for the damage challenge. Great for applying status conditions. Pretty nice just in general, right? Of course, 3 gauge. Who cares? He's got free moves next. X Speed All Plus, being able to raise all ally speed by 3. Not only is he able to manage his own gauge extremely well, but he's able to manage ally gauge extremely well because of the speed buffs he's able to apply. Plus 6 speed. This is the big leg up he's got on Arcsuit Steven, and the fact that he's actually able to, you know, apply speed buffs to the team and actually manage gauge for the team pretty well. That's one of the biggest things that keeps him, like, that's not the biggest thing that keeps him in competition, because he's still just really stupidly good anyway. But, like, this is one thing that, again, he's got a leg up on Steven on. He's able to apply team speed buffs. It's helping any team with their gauge. One of the biggest and most amazing traits for the damage challenge for those Sing spammers, especially the slow ones like Melanie. You know, Melanie's not exactly the fastest character in the world, but she's one of the best damage challenge characters because she's able to partner up extremely well with someone with paralysis and speed buffs, a la Champion Blue. And, of course, his sync power-up, right? Buddy move, Thundering Wings Roost. This is one of the best healing moves in the game. It's 2 gauge, 2 uses. Targets all allies. It's activated whenever the enemy has a lowered rebuff on the enemy on the other side. I mean, that's fine, right? That's fine. This does kind of play around. I think this is like most made quote-unquote annoying, I guess. I don't think it matters too much. I don't, but I think it's probably like made most annoying in the Legendary Gauntlet, where obviously you can't like play around being able to use this on like bar 2 or something, because he's going to be pretty much sinking every time on bar 1, right? He's going to be having all of his rebuff active on bar 1, none for bar 2 or 3, so you have to really play around when you want to actually have his Thunder Wings Roost activated on that first bar. But that still doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter because of how good his defensive utility is anyway, and the fact that he's able to apply gradual healing on it, which will go into the effects, I guess, right? Restores HP of all allies by 30% of their maximum, restores his own HP by 30% of the maximum, removes all status conditions from all allies, and applies gradual healing to all allies. Okay, so for one, he's healing allies 30% of their HP, like a upgraded mini potion. He's then healing his own HP another 30% for a 60% total just on himself, and then he's also applying gradual healing to all allies, which is tick healing of about 10% HP every single turn that allies do as long as they are using, their Pokemon is using a move. Yeah, pretty strong. That is quite strong. Very strong, even. He's able to do so much healing because of this all in one move. The only downside to this is that it does not targeted healing, right? So if you have an ally that's extremely low, well, the maximum they're getting is 30% HP back plus gradual healing, and it's only 2 uses with no NPR to, you know, play around, right? That does suck. It does kind of suck a little bit, and that's one of the bigger things that Arcsuit Steven has over him, but this is still extremely good healing, and because of all of his great defensive utility in general, being able to buff defenses and flinch is being just one of them, this tends to be, you know, this tends to, like, quote-unquote not matter that much anyway, just because of how strong of a support he is, that where the gradual healing and all of those, you know, safety net mechanics he already has in play is able to keep allies alive, and you don't have to worry too much about, like, focused healing, I guess. So, very, very strong buddy move, for sure. He's got Glory of Leadership, raising crit of all allies by 3, using a maximum of 3 slots of the gauge. The more used, the more buffs allies' special attack, up to 6, and increases special moves next of all allies by 2. We've seen the same effect in Arcsuit Steven's sync move, or buddy move, nope, trainer move, there we go, figured it out. Where Arcsuit Steven is able to actually buff crit the more gauge is used, but he's able to unconditionally buff attack and sync move up next. Well, Blue's got the same effect, and he did it first, so haha. Yeah, the crit buffs, the special attack buffs. I mean, being able to max out special attack and crit in one move is so good for so many characters. Like, I literally, in my personal case, like, I was trying to use Anniversary Skyla for the damage challenge, and she was solid for it, right? You know, flying 3v3, but she would have been a shitload better if I actually had Champion Blue, because he can max out her stats, because she is so horrible at being self-sufficient. It is bad. It is terrible. Please save me. Please. Like, for characters like Anniversary Skyla, just as a good example, she's only able to buff her special attack and crit by 1. She does not have any other way to really do it here. I think she's got, like, no, she's got Shifty Squash. She doesn't have Fortuitous. Yeah. This is her only way of really buffing, like, special attack and crit, like, super well, other than, like, Team Sharp Entry, I guess. So the fact that a support like Champion Blue exists to give her that +6 special attack and +3 crit that she desperately wants instantly, on top of the extra buffs he's able to apply to the team in the form of that Sync power-up. I'm lost. Okay. In the form of that, like, Sync power-up here, and the extra buffs and all of that. That's really good. That's super good for so many characters. So many characters appreciate that amount of quote-unquote self-sufficiency that Blue is able to provide to them. Well, not self-sufficiency, that support they're able to apply. You know, remove the quotes. I don't know why I'm saying that a lot. Either way, great trainer moves. Special attack buffs, crit buffs, special moves, next buffs, speed buffs, paralysis, flinch, defensive buffs, sync move, unconditional power-up, electric rebuff -2, 30% healing to the whole team twice, 30% healing extra to him twice, and 2 layers of gradual healing and status condition removal to get rid of, like, burns, poisons, and whatnot. Those are amazing abilities of a supportive character, and that is just what Blue does at 1 out of 5. Yeah. This is already a really good base kit, and this is already a character that is worth going for just for 1 copy. Maybe he only enhances special moves next by, like, 1 layer, right? But that's okay, because his defensive utility is still super good. The defensive buffs plus the healing is pretty damn strong. And again, a character that is worth going for just at 1 out of 5, especially if you're trying to buff electric types because of how good this electric rebuff is. Yeah. So, that's just Blue at 1 out of 5. Still really worth going for. I mean, look at his amount of solos he gets in the Legendary Arena just at 1 out of 5. Like, he gets, what, 4, 5, 6? 6 Legendary Arena souls just at 1 out of 5. That's pretty good. And of course he souls 14 with various investment. And I mean, we could probably, like, scour for, like, Blue move levels here in the damage challenge, but no thanks. Most of them are 3 out of 5 EX roll. Jeez, man. Can we, like, change the investment level? Man. Either way. Doesn't matter too much. Big part of why Blue's so good in the damage challenge anyways, because he's able to do AoE paralysis extremely quickly. Okay. Let's actually take a look at what Blue is able to do in his grid, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Where's the hostile environment on this? There it is. Hostile environment 2. Okay. So, Blue here at 1 out of 5. In the grid, he's got Lith and Unflappable and Discharge and Gauge Refresh. These aren't quite crazy abilities. I mean, the Paralysis immunity, Flinch immunity, and a little bit of extra Gauge. That's decent. I don't think the Gauge matters too much for him, but, you know, it's fine. These are not really a great 1 out of 5. Whatever. 2 out of 5. He gets Thundering Wings Woost. Okay. Roost, Gauge Refresh 9. If you need Gauge, there it is. Turbocharge, quickly charge, engage in electric terrain. He cannot set electric terrain, but he works extremely well with, like, a character like Thunderbolt Red, for example. That's a big one. Thunderbolt Red. I don't know why he's got... Oh, Pikachu. Never mind. Makes sense. And obviously any other electric terrain setter you want to bring him with, like... I mean, just... You can throw this guy on a team and he's going to be good. Same as How. Pierce. Roxy, right? Emmett. I mean, throw this guy on any team with any electric type characters, he's gonna be, like, their best support, pretty much unconditionally. Oh boy. Electric Repulsion 3, 30% damage reduction when in electric terrain. This is an amazing passive. Like, this is really solid, just because he's able to combine this with, like, again, those great electric terrain setters, plus his amazing healing and defensive utility, and he's, you know, nigh immortal, right? I mean, we think it's just that this guy was like the most near immortal character pretty much in the game until, again, Arc Suit Steven released, right? So the fact that he's got because of the fact that he's got, like, these damage reduction abilities like that electric repulsion or the healing, like in the Roost here, and the defensive buffs and the flinch for being able to disrupt enemy actions entirely. I mean, it's such great utility. It's such great damage reduction ability, defensive utility, stuff like that. He's also got Gobsmack. This is good for, like, deactivating enemy gimmicks, like, you know, applying confusion is decent for that, but not necessary a lot of time. I don't think. I think this is just like fine, if anything. It's okay. It's an okay tile. I mean, other than that, XP all NPR doesn't really do too much unless you get speedy buffed. That's really the only reason you would ever want this. Furious Brain, this gives him an actual multiplier, as well as Brain Power. These are two solid tiles. It gives him an extra 30% multiplier for damage and 100% multiplier for a Sync Nuke. Obviously, it's used to actually like try and enhance damage, and there could be good applications for this, for sure. Like, I mean, I could see good usage of that in Legendary Arenas for like 2 out of 5 souls or whatever, something like that. So where blue can actually, do damage and keep up and whatever else, this can be legitimately solid for that. But for the most part, I mean, he's not going to be doing too much damage, but he definitely can do damage, right? He's able to apply electric rebuff as well as actually have multipliers, and that's going to do something for a character. Even if the character that only has 244 special attack, that's going to do something. Especially if you're going to be running him alongside any other type of supportive character who brings, like, electric terrain, or, like, just something that directly can power him up. And also consider, plus Brain Power, he's got this extra multiplier for his sync damage as well. I'm not saying he's going to do a crap load of sync damage, but you can definitely make some damage properties for him work, in a sense that he actually has these abilities here, and, well, you can do some pretty damn good chip damage with him, at the very least. He's also got Train of NPR. I mean, this is pretty solid if you need to max out special attack again, and of course giving more special moves next to all allies, so Train of NPR, not too shabby. Very, very nice, just for this effect alone, right here. Not too bad. Hostile Environment 2, raising chances of affecting enemies with status conditions. This gives him a 90% chance to paralyze on discharge. Split it in half and you got 45% for multiple enemies. Of course, I mean, you might want to get lucky enough to land all enemies with paralysis turn 1, but other than that, it's not that bad. And again, great damage challenge ability, the numbers speak for themselves. Again, if you've played this game for any certain amount of time and you've looked up damage challenge videos or ultimate battle videos or something, odds are you've seen a clear that uses this character. And well, it's because he's that good. So the 2 out of 5 is actually really not bad for him. He gets Electric Repulsion, most notably, Hostile Environment 2, Furious Brain, Brain Power, and Train of NPR. I think those are easily his best tiles that he gets. A few of them are also decent, like Quick Cure could be good for getting rid of those status changes, right? Turbocharge may be good for Team Gauge, Gobsmack could be good for applying Confusion, depending on if you need any of those abilities. But for the most part, I think these are probably his best abilities that he gains at 2 out of 5, and overall definitely worth the 2 out of 5 investment. At the very least, if you're trying to do damage challenge, this tile is going to be quite fucking helpful. I can only imagine. 3 out of 5. He gets Team Sync Think 9, first sync move on opponent, defenses down, discharge overwhelm, discharge satisfied snicker, initial guard, vigilance, sync move, team HP recovery, and impervious. Okay. Half of these abilities are focused on making his defensive utility that much better. Discharge, Overwhelm, and Satisfied Snicker. Not only is this good for activating multipliers like Pecking Order and Devastation and whatnot, or like Power Play, or whatever else, but his also, of course, is increasing the team's defensive utility. Combine this with his defensive buffs, his healing, his damage reduction from having Flag Bearer, and Electro Repulsion for himself, all of that, and the team is going to be taking significantly less damage. This is one of the things that they've started doing a lot more recently, and it's such an effective way to reduce damage, of combining defensive buffs with offensive debuffs, and that's what makes a lot of these supportive characters that strong. Again, Arc Suit Steven, he is so good at 4 to 5 simply because he gained offensive debuffs on his moves. And, well, blue is no different. He's got AoE offensive debuffs because of discharge, on top of being able to also debuff enemy defenses on his sync move, even though it is only the first time, and it's only -2. Still, though, it's not bad enhancement, especially when he's got other enhancing properties naturally. Yeah, this is a very good tile. This alone makes his 3 out of 5 worthwhile investing, because you will notice the difference in how much damage you are taking compared to having the enemies with, at minimum, 0 offensive buffs, and at worst, +6, where blue is able to whittle those enemies down a lot, while also being able to buff ally defenses in the same process because of his attack move being successful, buffing ally defenses. So these tiles are amazing, and this also deactivates gimmicks like Latios with Fluid Fortification, making that solo that much easier, or actually probably that much more possible, actually. Not even easy, possible, considering he needs 3 out of 5 for it, right? And, well, it's easy. Or quite easy. He's also got Initial Guard, Damage Guard next when entering battle. This could be helpful if you know you're about to take a stupidly strong attack like frame 1, but, those may be far and few between. You can find some case use for this, but for the most part, might not be a tile too worth picking up. Vigilance in the grid. This is solid because it enables him to actually pick up something else in the lucky skill department. I mean, for example, hold on, I actually want to look this up just as an example, so people can get a decent, like, check. Legendary Arenas info, I want to look at Cresselia, because I actually looked at the solo recently. On entry, sure crit next, yes, and another sure crit. For example, Cresselia herself here gives sure crit on the half bar chain, not the half bar chain, well, yeah, no, the bar start, sorry. The bar start, she gives herself guaranteed crit, and also on the half bar on bar 3. She's able to give herself 3 instances of guaranteed crit, which is hitting through all of her the offensive debuffs that Blue is able to do to her, as well as the defensive buffs he's able to get to himself. That's a lot of damage, right? Having Vigilance ignores that, and it also allows him to run status immunity because of all of the different status condition effects that Cresselia is able to apply. For example, she's able to use Thunder Wave and also Toxic. Skip if the target's already affected by a status condition. Cresselia will never skip this even if Blue has status immunity, and so she will always try to poison him, and while having status immunity on top of Vigilance protects him from both those crit protections, or protects him from that crit damage, and also protects him from being affected by the status conditions, which is, of course, extremely, extremely helpful. So that is just one example of why Vigilance innate can be so good for him, running a different lucky skill. Of course, being able to run Head Start 1 or Adrenaline is also extremely good as well. I mean, those are great, great for like sync ramping stages, or of course the high score event. Not high score event, damage challenge, so very, very good there too. Also, he is great in the high score event. One of the best tanks in the game, electric rebuff, able to, apply extra damage to the whole team without having to directly power up the enemies. Obviously, he's going to be good in any electric high score event, and he was really good for players who were just trying to get up to 180/200,000 in the high score event, even if he wasn't on the boosted type. He was really good for that, just so you can kind of ease your way through it. Okay. And those are just those abilities. He's also got Impervious. Impervious giving him stat debuff immunity. I mean, we want to just, like, for one, stat debuff immunity is always going to be good. It's great against fucking Moltres is one of the bigger ones. My god. And of course, any enemy that wants to debuff you. Well, biggest one, the one that really highlights that factor, this one, Morgan. Morgan loves to debuff you. Having Impervious makes the fight near trivial, especially when you consider that Blue's able to also debuff stats, which help directly debuff some of her damage reduction gimmicks. Well, yeah, having Blue with Impervious, that's going to be able to be extremely good for himself and make sure he's not, like, getting completely obliterated. He's also got Sync Move Team HP Recovery 1, restoring ally HP by 20% after using a Sync Move. This effect has a lot of good application in the Gauntlet and can be good for the first time you use a Sync Move earlier on in the fight, because there's a lot of stages. Well, I don't know about a lot of stages anymore, I can't really remember, but if you look at, I remember this vividly, if you look at Annabelle, she likes to really start out early. Come on. Look at Blue Champion, 25 clears. Yeah, you would think, right? Well, Annabelle loves to start out, if we've got it here. Heat Wave, Flare Blitz, Repeat. I think that's the Ninetales info, but still. Moves Eruption, and then what? It goes to Ninetales, right? Heat Wave, then to the Arcanine, where it will start spamming, like, between Overheat and Bulldoze and whatnot. Like, these characters like to spam or use these high-powered AoE attacks, and, well, Blue, probably going to be your first sync move for the support EX, is able to actually apply extra 20% healing, which then, in turn, preserves uses of this Roost, and that's obviously going to be really solid. And, of course, this has good application in the Legendary Arenas, where he's going to be syncing constantly, giving the team back 20% HP, and again, you can preserve uses of this Roost even more because of that, and that is one of probably the bigger abilities that is saving him against, like, Cresselia's Legendary Arena, for example. That extra 20% healing every single sync cycle is quite helpful for that fight, for instance. Also, Team Sync Think 9. If you do need the special moves next, this activates only once per battle. I mean, if you need the +1 special moves next after using a sync move, then that's good, right? I mean, this could be useful, but for the most part, it's only +1 special moves next. It's not that important, but hey, if you find usage in it, there it is. Though, for the most part, I think it might be worthwhile to go for Churning of NPR more than that. And there's Blue's Grid. Blue's Grid is so focused on being able to, like, help out with extra damage reduction ability with the form of these offensive debuffs, Electric Repulsion, Impervious preventing those stat debuffs, which are, going to be directly empowering his own defensive ability, because it deactivates enemy gimmicks to be able to hit harder, which is great. Also, Sync Move HP Recovery, giving him more HP back. The defensive debuffs here on the Sync Move, the extra power-ups he might get could be good, again, for extra chip damage against enemies. Paralysis, great for the damage challenge, and, more actually consistently being able to set paralysis for activating multipliers or deactivating enemy gimmicks. that's all great gimmick check and just all great utility. And I mean, again, you've seen me come back to it multiple times. Blue can solo every single legendary arena. Okay, I mean, I'm sure there are multiple that give him issue. I haven't exactly looked at all of his clear, but I think the biggest one that gives him trouble, Moltres. Cresselia can be a little bit annoying too, but Moltres is the biggest one. This one's very difficult, but he can do it, so hey. And that in turn gives him the perfect score, 20 out of 28, I guess, on the Legendary Arena clears here, where he's able to actually be extremely effective in every single Legendary Arena alongside pretty much every other solo capable character. Damage challenge, I mean, his paralysis ability, his sync move power up for all allies, the speed buffs, those are the biggest things that give him an amazing utility role in the damage challenge. Also on top of having the support EX, right? This just gives, it's always going to give him a slot on a team at the very least to do well. If it's not like the perfect setup or whatever, it still means he's going to do extremely well. There's just nothing to really consider there other than that. I mean, he's going to be so damn good for this mode. Ultimate battles. Until Arceus Steven released, Blue was like your savior and your god in Ultimate battles. Annabelle, he's got 25 clears. Thornton's Freezing Frost, 31 clears. Deactivating Thornton's gimmick as well by being able to actually apply rebuff. Drock's Daring Wings, 27 clears. Argenta, 32 clears, again, deactivating her gimmick. Palmer's Rumbling Might, 8 clears. I mean, this is a very damage-focused stage, but Blue's still able to apply good damage to the team in the form of the electric teams, right? Ash and Red getting powered up here because of that electric rebuff and the sync power-ups and master passive, stuff like that. 33 clears versus Lucy. 35 clears versus Leon, where he's super effective against the stage, and, electric types are kind of preferred. 15 clears versus Nita. Nolan's ultimate battle. I don't even know what this guy does against Nolan, but hey, he's there. I mean, that master passive, the sync power buff, the initial damage guard probably is good for this stage. There you go, man. There you go. Giovanni's stage, he's able to apply the offensive debuffs. In the case here with like Thunderbolt Red, Red's able to actually apply the defensive debuffs, deactivating a lot of the gimmicks there on Giovanni, and also apply the electric terrain. Blue just acts as a great support for Red. I mean, these two plus Ash, or like any other electric character for the most part, even just them like together, is still one of the best combinations in the game. And it was one of the best combinations in the game like prior to the 5th anniversary, because Red's able to apply the electric terrain, which is powering up Blue. Blue's able to power up Red with all of his abilities and the electric rebuff and whatnot. Blue's able to support the team, of course, extremely well. Blue's able to apply the offensive debuffs. Red's able to apply the defensive debuffs and speed debuffs as well, I believe. Meaning that they've got all the debuffs covered for the most part. These two as a combination is still really good if you manage to have Thunderbolt Red in this, the day and age. Evelyn, again, offensive debuff. She's got Fluid Fortification as one of her biggest gimmicks. Blue's able to do so well against that. 33 clears. Kukui here, he needs offensive debuffs and a status condition. Blue. I said Kukui. Master Royal. Meh. Alright, Master Royal. Whatever. Blue's able to apply that paralysis and those offensive debuffs. Nemona. Even though he's an electric character, would technically be buffed under Nemona, he doesn't care. He still applies so well as the best support for one of the best supports for the stage, being able to work very, very well with a lot of the special attacking psychic types, and of course just good general supportive enhancement. Morgan. Again, he's got Impervious. That Impervious is just shutting down her main ability to like damage him. He's able to apply offensive debuffs to deactivate some of her and her enemies' gimmicks. Yeah, great. It's really great stuff. So, yeah, Champion Blue, one of the best supports in the game. I mean, easily the best support role character in the game. So if you want to pick this guy up, heavily recommend doing it. He will make your life a lot easier basically anywhere. If I had to recommend a combination, I mean, it would be any combination of Leaf and Blue or Blue and Red, right? Like if you can get 2 of them, I would recommend getting all 3, but if you can only get 1 or 2, Blue's easily the best one to go for of the 3, at least in my opinion. Most valuable one, rather. But anyway, any combination of those 3 that you get, whether you get just Red or Leaf or Blue, or you get 2 of each of any which one, or all 3 of them, you're going to be making off really well. All 3 of these Kanto Trio characters are extremely good to go for, so I recommend using as many gems as possible to get these. If you are a returning player, it is easily within your best decision to re-roll for these characters. Get them now, man. Really, just get them now. Yeah, I'll see you later. Hope you all enjoyed. Good luck on your summonings for the Kanto Trio Neo Champions, and good luck on your skipping. January's coming up. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, New Year's, and all that stuff. Yeah, I'll see you later. I hope you all enjoyed. Peace.